Today I'm going to be working on the 4 turkey breasts that we roasted yesterday. One of them I set aside for sandwiches. Today I'm going to use 2 of the breasts to make some turkey pot pies for the freezer, and I think I'll use the 4th one to make turkey tetrazzoni. But today it's all about turkey pot pie. So let's get going. I'm making 2 pies. And I'm going to use the 9x13 pans, so I need quite a bit of filling. For each pie, I'm going to use 5 cups of diced turkey, 4 cups of diced blanched potatoes. I've got 4 cups of fresh or frozen vegetables that I had in the freezer, and I kind of need to use those up, so that's pretty convenient. It's got peas, carrots, corn, and green beans, which will be perfect for a pot pie. I'll use 1 package of my mushroom, onion, and celery medley. I'll use, for the gravy, I will use the turkey broth that we made, and probably use some black pepper, thyme, sage, some sweet red pepper, and we'll use some heavy cream too, make it nice and creamy. First thing I'll do is make the sauce, and then I'll put it all together, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, so the filling is assembled. I did add 1 cup of flour before I added the liquids and stirred it up so that when this bakes in the oven, the gravy will thicken a little. So now we're going to put together the crust for the pot pie. And I've got 4.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 3/4 of a cup of butter, and 3/4 of a cup of lard, and a teaspoon and a half of salt. And I just pulsed that in the microwave till it was crumbly. And I'm going to go ahead and assemble this and show you how I handle the dough, just in case I do something that you might find helpful. So here is 1 egg yolk, 1/3 of a cup of cold water, and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And I just kind of mix that up. I make a little well and then add the liquid. And then I gently just incorporate this until the dough starts getting wet. The goal is to not overwork this, because if you overwork it, you'll lose the flakiness and the tenderness of the crust. So you're just kind of trying to get all the dry stuff a little bit moist, which will allow us to roll it out. Okay, that's good enough. I'm gonna dump this out on the work surface here. Now this recipe is going to make 1 9x13 pot pie. As you can see, the dry material starts to stick if I just gently work it. I'm trying to not overwork it though. Okay, that's good enough. Now the bottom crust, because it incorporates the sides, I need a little more dough for that, so I'm going to go about 2/3 for the bottom crust, and that can just sit there and rest while I roll this out. Okay, if you don't have a bench scraper, they're sure handy for making pie crusts. Okay, I'm going to try and roll this in a rectangle, because that's the shape of the pan I'm using. And if you look closely, you can see the little bits of butter and lard, and you want that. That's what creates that flaky texture. If you work it too much and you make it all smooth, then you lose that layer of fat and flour and see how we're doing for size. I'm happy with that. I might have to piece it a little, but that's just part of the pie crust making process. I'm going to take my bench scraper and loosen everything I can reach without moving the crust. And then I'm going to begin to fold this. Again, I'll loosen. And fold. Loosen and fold. Okay, now you can see it's loose on the board, and I can work with that now. So in comes the pan. And I'm going to lay it, hopefully so that I don't have to shift it once I get it in here, because shifting a pie crust of this size can be a little awkward. Okay, we did pretty good. Now we're just going to press it up the sides. Okay. Kind of a thin spot right there. And I'm going to rob from this end and push it down in there. Okay, that looks good. And this filling might look a little thin to you right now, but it's going to thicken as it bakes. Okay, beautiful. Now for the top crust. I like to make the filling first because you don't want the pie dough to sit there and dry out while you're making your filling. And of course there's more than one way to do a pie crust. If you have tips and tricks that you like and help you, maybe you'll share them with us. Okay, that's how to do it. Again, I loosen the edges all the way around. And fold it into a piece that's manageable for me to pick up. On goes the top crust. I'm going to go around the perimeter and kind of get my bottom crust and my top crust edges to kind of, so that the filling doesn't leak out as it bakes. Any areas that are too thick, you can just remove a little bit of crust, and you'll probably have an area that is a little thin and you want to add that to it, like right there. This is looking pretty. Okay, it's beautiful. Now, there's two more things the pie needs before it can be baked, but we're not baking this today. It's going to go in the freezer, but these two things can be done at this point. So we put a little vent hole in the top. And then we're going to put an egg wash on these. And then I'll cover it and put it in the freezer. You don't thaw it before you bake it, or it's not necessary anyway. Hopefully I'll get to bake one and show you how it turns out. There's the first one, on to the second one. Okay, the pot pies are completed. I've got 2 of the 9x13s, and they're the deep dish ones, so these are pretty large pot pies that we'll enjoy with 6 or 8 people for dinner. I had enough filling left over, I was able to make a smaller one. And I had a little bit of pie dough left, so I went ahead and made some little decorative fall leaves to add to the top. I used this type of cutter. It pushes the dough out, so it works really good. I thought I had a turkey-shaped one, but I couldn't find it, of course. That would have been pretty cute, but anyway, they're decorated. They've got the egg wash on them and a little steam vent, and they are ready for the freezer. And now I get to clean up this mess.